Our universe, a flawless program or prone to glitches? Have you ever experienced a moment so strange it made you question reality itself? A flicker in the fabric of existence perhaps, maybe a profound sense of having lived a moment before identically, or perhaps you recall a historical event one way, while the records insist on another. These are not mere flights of fancy for many, they are deeply felt experiences, often unsettling, sometimes wondrous. We call them reality glitches. They are those peculiar instances where the world around us, or our perception of it, seems to skip a beat, revealing a possible crack in what we assume to be solid and unwavering truth. It's like finding an unexpected line of code in the universe's operating system. Our journey through the cosmos, both the one outside and the one within our minds, is filled with mysteries. We strive to understand the grand scale of galaxies and the intricate dance of subatomic particles. Yet sometimes the most profound questions arise from everyday human experiences. These so-called glitches, these moments of cognitive dissonance with the perceived world, might be more than just tricks of the mind. Could they be subtle hints from the universe itself? Perhaps they are signposts, pointing towards a deeper, more complex understanding of consciousness, memory, and the very structure of space-time. Or are they simply the fascinating ways our brains try to make sense of an overwhelming influx of information? Throughout history, people have reported these strange occurrences. They've been attributed to spirits, gods, fate, or simply an overactive imagination. But as our scientific understanding grows, we seek new explanations. We look to neuroscience, psychology, and even theoretical physics for answers. The beauty of science lies in its relentless curiosity, its willingness to explore the unknown, even when the unknown challenges our most fundamental assumptions. These glitches compel us to ask, how reliable is our perception? How robust is our shared reality? Are we passive observers, or do our minds play a more active role in constructing the world we experience every single day of our lives? In this exploration, we will venture into some of the most common and intriguing of these reality glitches. We'll examine déjà vu's familiar strangeness, the collective misremembering of the Mandela Effect, and the disorienting experience of missing time. We will also touch upon other phenomena that make us pause and wonder about the seamless reality we often take for granted. Our aim is not to provide definitive answers, for many don't yet exist. Instead, we hope to spark your curiosity, encourage reflection on your own experiences, and ponder the magnificent, perhaps even quirky, nature of our universe and our place within its grand, unfolding narrative. Déjà vu. The French term translates to already seen. It's that uncanny, fleeting sensation that you've experienced the current moment before in vivid detail. You know what someone is about to say. You recognize the arrangement of objects in a room you've supposedly never entered. This feeling can be incredibly strong, almost like a memory playing out in real time, yet you're consciously aware that this precise situation is new.
It's a common experience. A significant portion of the population reports having felt it at least once. It's a brief yet profound hiccup in our normal stream of consciousness, leaving us with a lingering sense of wonder and sometimes unease. Neuroscientists have proposed several explanations for this intriguing phenomenon. One idea involves a momentary processing delay in the brain. Information from our senses might take slightly different neural pathways to reach higher cognitive centers. If one pathway is momentarily slower, the brain might interpret the slightly delayed signal as a memory rather than a present experience. Another theory suggests a misfiring in the brain's memory circuits, specifically in regions like the hippocampus, which is crucial for memory formation. Perhaps the brain mistakenly flags a new experience with a familiarity tag, leading to that strong but false sense of recollection that defines the unsettling nature of déjà vu.
Then there are the more speculative, yet fascinating theories that venture beyond current mainstream science. Some people wonder if déjà vu could be a glimpse of a past life, an echo from a previous existence bleeding into the present. Others entertain the idea of parallel universes or alternate timelines. Could déjà vu be a moment where your current reality briefly overlaps or resonates with a similar scenario playing out for another version of you in a different dimension? These concepts stretch the boundaries of our understanding, but they speak to the deep human desire to find meaning in these unusual mental states, to connect them to a larger, perhaps stranger, cosmic picture. Ultimately, déjà vu remains a captivating puzzle. Is it a simple neurological quirk, a complex interplay of memory and perception, or could it be a fleeting window into something more profound about the nature of time and consciousness?
While science continues to investigate the mechanisms, the experience itself invites personal reflection. It reminds us that our perception of reality, our sense of linear time, might not be as straightforward as we typically assume. Each instance is a personal mystery, a small jolt that makes us question the very flow of our own lives and the memories that define us. Imagine being absolutely certain about a historical fact, a movie quote, or a brand name, only to discover that the reality is different. And you are not alone. Thousands, even millions, share your specific false memory. This is the essence of the Mandela Effect. The term itself was coined by paranormal researcher Fiona Broome when she discovered that she and many others vividly remembered Nelson Mandela dying in prison during the 1980s. Of course, Nelson Mandela was released from prison in 1990 and passed away in 2013. This shared, incorrect memory sparked a global conversation about how such widespread inaccuracies could occur. Common examples of the Mandela Effect abound, and they are often quite specific. Many people recall the children's book series as the Berenstain Bears, not the Berenstain Bears.
Others remember a movie where a genie grants Sinbad a wish, a film that seemingly doesn't exist. Famous quotes are also frequent subjects. Luke, I'm your father from Star Wars is often misremembered. The actual line is, no, I am your father. These aren't just vague recollections. People often have detailed memories associated with these incorrect versions, making the discrepancy even more baffling and sometimes quite unsettling for those who experience it so strongly. Psychologists offer several explanations for the Mandela Effect, primarily rooted in the fallibility of human memory. Confabulation, where the brain fills in gaps in memory with fabricated but plausible information, is one possibility. Suggestibility also plays a role. If we hear a misremembered fact often enough, especially from trusted sources or large groups, we might adopt it as our own memory. The sheer volume of information in the digital age, including misinformation, can also contribute to the formation and spread of these collective false memories.
Our brains are not perfect recording devices. They are reconstructive, and sometimes the reconstruction goes slightly awry for many people in similar ways. However, more speculative theories propose that the Mandela Effect could be evidence of something far stranger. Some suggest that these are not false memories at all, but glimpses into alternate realities or parallel universes. In this view, those who remember the Berenstain Bears might have, at some point, shifted from a universe where that was the correct spelling. Other theories involve timeline alterations, suggesting that history itself has been subtly changed, leaving residual memories of the original timeline. While these ideas lack empirical evidence, they reflect a deep human fascination with the possibility of realities beyond our own, and the unsettling idea that our shared history might not be as fixed as we believe.
Have you ever been driving a familiar route, only to arrive at your destination with no clear memory of the journey? Or perhaps you've been engrossed in a task, and hours seem to have vanished in what felt like minutes. This phenomenon, often referred to as missing time, describes periods where an individual cannot account for a span of time, ranging from a few moments to several hours, or even longer in some reported cases.
Well, sometimes it's simply a case of being on autopilot or deeply focused. Other instances of missing time can feel more profound and disorienting, leaving individuals with a sense of unease and a gap in their personal narrative. Scientific explanations for missing time often point to various psychological and neurological states. Dissociation, a mental process where a person disconnects from their thoughts, feelings, memories, or sense of identity, can lead to gaps in awareness and memory. This can be triggered by stress, trauma, or even mundane activities that don't require full conscious attention. Altered states of consciousness, such as those experienced during intense concentration, meditation, or even extreme fatigue, can also distort our perception of time's passage. Our brains are adept at filtering information, and when we are not actively monitoring the clock, our internal sense of time can become surprisingly elastic and unreliable.
In more unusual and debated scenarios, missing time is associated with claims of extraordinary experiences. For instance, individuals who report alleged alien abduction experiences often cite periods of missing time as a key component of their encounters. Hypnotherapy sometimes uncovers purported memories from these lost periods, though the reliability and nature of such recovered memories are subjects of considerable scientific skepticism and debate. These accounts, while controversial, highlight how deeply disturbing unexplained gaps in one's life can be, pushing individuals to seek explanations far beyond the conventional scope of everyday experience, often venturing into the paranormal or ufological. Regardless of the cause, the experience of missing time forces us to confront the subjective nature of our temporal awareness.
Time, as we perceive it, is not always a steady, unyielding river. It can stretch, compress, or even seem to vanish entirely from our conscious recall. These moments serve as a potent reminder that our internal clocks and memory systems are complex and not always perfectly synchronized with the external objective measurement of seconds, minutes, and hours. They invite us to consider the intricate ways our brains construct our sense of continuity and the unsettling feeling when that continuity is inexplicably broken, leaving a blank page in our personal history. Section 5, the frozen crowd. Is the bystander effect a social anomaly?
The bystander effect is a deeply unsettling social psychological phenomenon.
It occurs when the presence of others discourages an individual from intervening in an emergency situation.
The more bystanders there are, the less likely it is that any one of them will help.
This isn't necessarily due to apathy or cruelty.
Instead, it often stems from a diffusion of responsibility where each person assumes someone else will act.
It can also arise from social influence. If no one else is reacting, individuals might interpret the situation as less serious than it is, or fear embarrassment if they intervene unnecessarily.
This collective inaction can feel like a strange glitch in our expected social programming.
Consider the classic experiments, or even real-life news reports.
Someone is in distress, clearly needing assistance, yet a crowd of people may simply watch or walk by.
From the outside, it can appear as if an invisible force field is preventing action, a moment where human empathy and responsibility seem to inexplicably short-circuit on a group level.
For the person needing help, this inaction can be terrifying and bewildering.
For the bystanders themselves, they might later feel regret or confusion about their own passivity.
It's a stark reminder that our individual behavior can be powerfully and sometimes negatively shaped by the presence and behavior, or lack thereof, of those around us.
While the bystander effect has well-studied psychological underpinnings, its manifestation can feel like a societal reality glitch.
It's a moment where the expected human response of compassion and aid seems to fail systemically.
Why does our individual sense of duty diminish so drastically in a crowd?
It challenges our ideas of community and shared responsibility.
It suggests that our social instincts, which often drive us to cooperate and protect one another, can sometimes lead to a paradoxical and dangerous paralysis.
Understanding these dynamics is crucial not just for social psychology, but for fostering more responsive and supportive communities in our complex, interconnected world.
Could there be deeper, more subtle factors at play in these moments of collective inertia?
Perhaps it touches upon a fundamental aspect of group consciousness, or the lack thereof when faced with ambiguity and the potential for social judgment.
The bystander effect forces us to question the robustness of our moral compass in group settings.
It's a chilling demonstration of how social context can override individual conscience, creating a disturbing gap between what we believe we would do and what research shows people often actually do.
It's a glitch not in space-time, but in the expected flow of human empathy and action, a troubling silence where a cry for help goes unanswered. Section 6. Seeing double doppelgangers and shaken realities. The concept of the doppelganger, a ghostly double or exact look-alike of a living person, has haunted human imagination for centuries. It's more than just encountering someone who bears a passing resemblance. A true doppelganger encounter is often described as deeply unsettling, even premonitory.
Folklore across many cultures is rich with tales of these spectral twins, often considered omens of bad luck or impending death. To meet one's own doppelganger, according to these legends, is to face one's own mortality, or a sign that something is profoundly amiss with the natural order of things, a true crack in the mirror of reality.
From a scientific perspective, the most straightforward explanation for doppelganger sightings involves mistaken identity, or the brain's remarkable yet fallible pattern recognition abilities. Our minds are wired to find familiar faces, and sometimes a collection of similar features can trigger a strong but incorrect sense of recognition.
Conditions like hortoscopy, the experience of seeing one's own body at a distance, or autoscopy, a visual hallucination of oneself, are rare neurological or psychiatric phenomena that could also account for some doppelganger experiences, especially those where one sees their own double. These are glitches in our own perceptual machinery rather than external apparitions.
However, the persistence and emotional impact of doppelganger stories suggest they tap into something deeper than simple misidentification. They probe our sense of individuality and uniqueness. The idea that another you could be walking the earth, perhaps living a different life, is inherently disquieting.
Some speculative theories, echoing those discussed with other reality glitches, touch upon possibilities like interdimensional beings, astral projections, or even brief intersections of parallel universes where another version of oneself might exist. These ideas, while lacking scientific backing, reflect humanity's enduring fascination with the boundaries of self and the potential for other realities to impinge upon our own.
Encounters with perceived doppelgangers, whether of oneself or others, can profoundly shake one's sense of a stable and predictable world. They act as a glitch, a moment where the assumed uniqueness of individual identity is challenged.
These experiences, whether rooted in psychology, folklore, or something more mysterious, force us to confront unsettling questions about who we are. Are we truly singular entities, or is identity more fluid and perhaps even replicable in ways we don't comprehend?
The doppelganger mythos continues to thrive because it touches these fundamental anxieties and wonders about the nature of self in a vast and complex universe.
Section 7. Nightmares and cinders, sleep paralysis, and spontaneous human combustion. Sleep paralysis is a terrifying experience where an individual, upon waking up or falling asleep, finds themselves unable to move or speak. Often, this immobility is accompanied by vivid and frightening hallucinations, a sense of pressure on the chest, the feeling of a menacing presence in the room, or auditory and visual phantoms.
For millennia, cultures worldwide have interpreted these terrifying episodes through a supernatural lens, attributing them to demons, witches, shadow people, or otherworldly visitors. The night hag of folklore pressing down on a sleeper's chest is a classic example of an attempt to explain this deeply unsettling phenomenon.
Science offers a more terrestrial, though no less fascinating explanation. Sleep paralysis occurs during the transition between wakefulness and REM sleep. During REM sleep, our bodies are naturally paralyzed to prevent us from acting out our dreams. Sleep paralysis happens when our minds wake up, but this muscle atonia persists for a few moments.
The hallucinations are thought to be dream imagery or hypnagogic, hypnopompic hallucinations intruding into the waking state. Our brains trying to make sense of the strange bodily sensations and the lingering dream state. It is a glitch in the sleep-wake cycle, a temporary desynchronization of mind and body.
Spontaneous human combustion, or SHC, presents a different, fiery mystery. This is the alleged phenomenon where a human body burns with no apparent external source of ignition, often leaving the surroundings remarkably unscathed. Historical accounts, dating back centuries, describe victims reduced to ashes, sometimes with only their extremities remaining. These tales are undeniably gruesome and baffling.
Early explanations range from divine retribution to excessive alcohol consumption. The sheer strangeness of these reported events has cemented SHC in popular culture as one of the ultimate unexplained mysteries, a bizarre and horrifying glitch in the normal laws of physics and biology.
Modern scientific investigation of alleged SHC cases has largely debunked the idea of a truly spontaneous combustion without an external ignition source. Most cases, upon closer examination, can be attributed to the wick effect. This occurs when a person, often incapacitated or asleep, is set alight by a small external source like a cigarette.
The person's clothing acts as a wick, and their body fat serves as the fuel, leading to a slow, contained burn that consumes the torso but can leave limbs and nearby objects relatively untouched. While this explains the physical evidence, the idea of SHC as a truly inexplicable event persists, highlighting our fascination with extreme and seemingly rule-breaking phenomena in our reality. Section 8. The universe's save point, quantum immortality explored. Quantum immortality is a mind-bending thought experiment that emerges from certain interpretations of quantum mechanics, particularly the many-worlds interpretation. The MWI suggests that every quantum measurement or event causes the universe to split into multiple parallel universes, one for each possible outcome.
So, if there's an event that could kill you, say, a game of quantum Russian roulette where a gun fires based on a quantum particle's state, the many worlds view implies that in every branching universe where you would die, your consciousness ceases. However, there will always be at least one universe where you survive, because survival is a possible outcome.
According to the logic of quantum immortality, your subjective experience would always follow the path of survival. You would never experience the universes where you perish. Instead, you would find yourself living through an increasingly improbable series of events where you miraculously escape death time and time again.
From an outside observer's perspective in any given universe, you might die. But from your own first-person perspective, you would continue to exist, seemingly against all odds, perhaps leading you to believe you are somehow immortal.
This isn't immortality in the traditional sense of living forever in one timeline, but rather a continuous branching into timelines where your consciousness persists. The implications of quantum immortality, if it reflects reality, are profound and rather unsettling. It would mean that for you, subjectively, death by random chance might be impossible.
You would simply find yourself in the branch of reality where the improbable life-saving event occurred. This could lead to a strange perception of the world, where you witness others aging and dying, but you yourself seem to go on, perhaps experiencing increasingly bizarre close calls.
It raises deep questions about personal identity, the nature of consciousness, and what it means to exist. It also highlights the truly strange and counterintuitive nature of quantum mechanics when applied to macroscopic objects like ourselves.
Of course, quantum immortality is highly speculative and not a universally accepted concept even among physicists who subscribe to the many worlds interpretation. There are many conceptual and philosophical challenges. For instance, what constitutes a measurement that causes a split? How does consciousness fit into this picture?
Despite the debates, it remains a fascinating idea. It pushes us to consider the limits of our understanding of life, death, and the fundamental fabric of existence. Could our perceived reality be just one thread in an infinitely branching tapestry of universes with our consciousness always navigating a path of continued being? It's a cosmic what-if that stretches the imagination to its limits. Section 9. Questioning the Code. What is the true nature of our reality? We've journeyed through some of the most perplexing glitches in our perceived reality, from the intimate echo of déjà vu to the shared misrememberings of the Mandela Effect, from lost moments in time to the chilling silence of the bystander effect. We've touched upon the eerie sight of doppelgängers, the terror of sleep paralysis, the fiery mystery of spontaneous human combustion, and the mind-bending concept of quantum immortality. Each of these phenomena in its own way tugs at the edges of our understanding, prompting us to look closer at the world we inhabit and the minds with which we perceive it. Are these mere tricks of neurology, psychology, or something more? These experiences challenge the notion of a single, objective, and unyieldingly solid reality. They suggest that our perception is a complex construction, influenced by memory, biology, social factors, and perhaps even aspects of the universe we are only beginning to grasp. The scientific method provides powerful tools to investigate these occurrences, often revealing rational explanations rooted in the known laws of nature and the workings of the human brain. Yet, the persistent sense of mystery and the deeply personal impact of these glitches keep the door open for further inquiry and speculation. They remind us that the universe is under no obligation to make sense to us easily. What if these glitches are not errors in the system but features we haven't yet understood? Could they be subtle clues like anomalies in astronomical data that lead to new discoveries pointing towards a more nuanced and intricate model of reality? Perhaps they hint at the limits of our current scientific paradigms or the unexplored capacities of human consciousness. The universe has surprised us countless times before. From the discovery of quantum mechanics to the vastness of cosmic expansion, what once seemed like fantasy has often become accepted science. The exploration of these fringe experiences could, one day, lead to similar breakthroughs. So the next time you experience a moment of inexplicable strangeness, pause and consider. What is your brain truly doing? What is the world around you truly presenting? Are you witnessing a simple misfire, or are you perhaps brushing against the deeper, more mysterious architecture of existence? These questions are not just for scientists and philosophers, they are for all of us. What is the relationship between consciousness and the physical world? How much of our reality is perceived and how much is constructed? And as we continue to explore the cosmos, both within and without, what other glitches might we encounter? And what will they teach us about the universe and ourselves?